Look at this picture. A nation of 125 million people crammed onto a volcanic archipelago that is a veritable laboratory for catastrophes. A place with almost no strategic natural resources, no oil, no gas, a negligible amount of minerals, and, most incredibly, only 12% of its land is suitable for agriculture. The rest is steep mountains. Add to that, it lives on the Pacific Ring of Fire, one of the most battered regions on the planet by earthquakes, tsunamis, and typhoons. By all economic and geographical logic, Japan should be a modest country, perhaps self-sufficient at best, always struggling to survive against the elements. And yet, it is the third largest economy in the world. Its brands, Toyota, Sony, Nintendo, Panasonic, are not just well known, they are synonymous with quality and innovation. How is this possible? How did they manage to turn a chain of vulnerable islands, empty of resources, into a global superpower? It wasn't magic, it wasn't luck, it was a plan, a secret kept in its history and engraved in its cultural DNA. And today, we are going to unveil the keys to this economic miracle. Many people simplify Japan's success with the old cliché, they just work very hard. And yes, the culture of effort is undeniable. But if hard work were the only variable, many other nations would be just as rich. The real secret isn't brute force effort, it's brilliant strategy. The ability to adapt and a very long-term vision. And it all began over 150 years ago with a humiliation and a decision. In the mid-19th century, Japan was a feudal society, anchored in the past and ruled by samurai under a policy of near total isolation. But from their shores, they saw something that terrified them. They watched as the black ships of American commodores and European powers with cannons that could pulverize their castles forced their giant neighbor, China, to its knees in the Opium Wars. Japan understood that the world was changing and that they had two options: be colonized or become colonizers, be the prey or the hunter. They chose a third way, summarized in the slogan Wakon Yosai, Japanese spirit, Western technology. This was the engine of the Meiji Restoration. They sent their brightest minds around the world on missions like the Iwakura mission. They didn't go to copy blindly. They went to learn, analyze, and dismantle the West's success. They studied British naval industry, the German constitution, the French banking system, and the American educational model. They absorbed all that knowledge, filtered it through their own culture, and adapted it to create an improved Japanese version. In less than one generation, they went from katanas to battleships. Let's fast forward to 1945. Japan is devastated. Its cities reduced to ashes by bombings. Its empire dismantled. Its population humiliated and hungry. And its greatest structural weakness was still there, more exposed than ever: the absolute lack of natural resources. But it is here, from the ashes, that they applied their secret on a masterful level. The reasoning was this: if we can't sell what the land gives us, we will sell what our minds can create. If we don't have raw materials, we will become the best in the world at transforming them. The plan, orchestrated by ministries like the powerful MITI, was brutally simple and yet brilliant. We will import cheap raw materials, coal, iron, oil, cotton, and we will add value to them through ingenuity, design, and precision manufacturing. Thus, imported steel and plastic became reliable and efficient Toyota cars and Honda motorcycles. Sand was purified to create the silicon for Sony's microchips and transistors. Imported oil not only powered the country, but it also fueled the factories that built the most advanced products in the world. Their greatest weakness, the lack of resources, forced them to become the smartest, the most efficient, and the most innovative. They didn't have the luxury of being lazy. But how did they go from making cheap post-war toys and products to being the global synonym for quality and reliability? The answer lies in a philosophy that permeated every factory, Kaizen.
In the West, the mentality, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, often prevails. In Japan, the philosophy is everything, absolutely everything, can be improved. Kaizen means continuous improvement, but it's much more than that. It's an obsession with perfection through thousands of small, incremental changes. In a Toyota factory, any worker, no matter how humble their position, has the authority to stop the entire production line if they spot a defect. This idea, called the Anden Cord, was revolutionary. It told every employee, your intelligence is valuable, your attention to detail is crucial. This culture eliminated waste, optimized processes to obsessive levels, and transformed Made in Japan from a cheap label into a seal of unparalleled excellence. And this brings us to the final secret, the pillar that supports everything else. The true and only inexhaustible natural resource of Japan was never underground. It was always in its people. A society with almost legendary social cohesion, an elite education system focused on science and engineering, and a long-term thinking mindset where the success of the group, the company, the nation, is placed above individual brilliance. The concept of the salaryman who dedicated his entire life to a single company created an incredibly educated, disciplined, and loyal workforce. The social contract was clear. You give me your loyalty and your effort, and I give you lifelong stability. They did not build their wealth on gold or oil, but on the knowledge, discipline, trust, and unity of their society. That is the treasure that no earthquake can destroy, that no tsunami can wash away. So the Japanese secret is not a magic formula. It is a powerful and complex alchemy. First, the strategic humility to learn from others and the arrogance to believe they could improve upon it. Second, innovation by necessity, turning their greatest weakness into their greatest strength. Third, a cultural obsession with quality and continuous improvement called Kaizen. And fourth, the massive investment in their only real resource, human capital, the soul of the nation. The story of Japan is the definitive proof that geographical limitations do not define a people's destiny. The vision, strategy, culture, and mindset of its people do. It is the lesson of how to build a giant on fragile land. Has this incredible story of resilience inspired you? If you've learned something new, smash that like button, subscribe for more secrets from history and economics, and let me know in the comments, what other country do you see as an example of success against all odds?